What is going on, friends? We are back in beautiful Johnson Valley because today we are testing the Ford Performance Bronco Raptor that won Baja. So what are we testing for? Well, myself and Loren Healy are entering into Vegas to Reno, over 500-mile race. That race is from Vegas to Reno. And so we're testing. The truck has been at Fun Off-Road facility in New Mexico, getting prepped. It's got, some just fresh parts from after doing well over 1,000 miles in Baja and all the testing leading up to that. And so today we're doing a shakedown. We're gonna run about 100 miles. I will get familiar with the truck. Loren will get familiar with it as well. And barring no challenges, we'll be at Vegas to Reno very soon to go and rip and do some racing. So I'm super pumped. This will be my second desert race this year. Obviously we did the Silver State and won that. So Loren and I will be splitting duties. Myself and Jeremy co-driving, and then Loren and Jesse. We haven't figured out strategy, who's getting in or any of that, but we're here to test. So let's get to it. Co-driving Loren Healy, take one. How was it being in the passenger seat ripping? It was fun. So Loren and I just wrapped up our testing. Loren put about 20, 30 miles in before I got here. Yeah. And we've got probably just clocked about 80. So we put close to 100 miles on it. We're gonna do some night testing. But I wanted to give you guys a walk around the truck. Well, first I'll give my impressions of it, I think. It's very much like our 4600 truck. Right. Right? It's faster. It's got more power, and the longer wheelbase you definitely feel in the whoops. Yeah. It definitely, the weight on the back definitely helps carry the nose better. Mm-hmm. But it's very intuitive, no drama, well balanced. Yeah. No, Ford Performance and the whole team that developed this and the Raptor R that we raced down in Baja last year. Well, they didn't just race; they won. We won. Yep. Third year, in our second year in a row, we ran the Raptor Ranger the year before that, and same team. So everybody comes out here from that team, and we spend endless days out here developing these trucks, durability testing. Ford won't let us go to Baja until we've essentially put that whole race on that truck. Sure. So we got to come out here and do 1,000+ miles in the truck and then take it back and prep it. Right. But confidently knowing that this truck can go do 1,000 miles in Baja. And Johnson Valley is a very rough terrain, so it's similar to Baja. Yeah. This feels like a stock Raptor, but it's tuned to handle just bigger stuff. Right. The dynamics of it, this section we were out here we brought Ben out, and this section we were running today was what we were running in the stock Raptor, and I was doing 70, 80 in the stock Raptor through some of it. Right. But you got to slow down a little bit more for the big things in the stock one versus this guy. The general consumer isn't trying to drive this down the highway at 100 miles an hour. Sure. So you can take that out of it and make it better to take those big hard hits, but it makes it harsher when you're driving down the highway. So, exactly. Yeah, it's the balance, and they do have the live valve, which is the best of all worlds. Yep. But I wanted to walk you guys around this because you will be surprised how stock this truck is, right? Like it looks like a full-blown race car, right? And it is a race car. It's prepped for safety. It's prepped to handle the things that it handles, but most of this truck is stock, right? So let's talk about things that have been done to it, right? Obviously a bumper,
but
right?
The stock bumper's still there.
Got the stock.
That's the stock.
Okay, that's the stock modular bumper, right. And then we built the push bar.
Yep.
Off the top of it.
Yep.
We added Project X. We got the FF70s in the front, the HP 7s up on the roof, so we can toggle that because the race that we're doing, Vegas to Reno, over 500 miles.
Yep.
Right. So we'll be starting around noon, and we will be ending probably just after midnight. So got to have dope lighting. So we did that. Let's see. I left the hood open so we could show. So this is where you guys are like, oh my gosh, there's probably a badass race motor in here. Bone stock 3 liter. So 3 liter EcoBoost twin turbo. Now, what's been done to it for this? Well, stock radiator, stock oil cooler. There has been a couple bleeders added in the system just to make sure you get all the air out and stuff like that. This is the intake. Loren, you can speak a little bit about why you have this intake.
So when we go durability test here, when you get into these crazy huge silt beds, you end up in the factory location, which pulls air, nice, clean, cold air from this location. That's too low. You gotta get it to pull air from somewhere else because the silt all goes, it's like hitting that big mud puddle.
Sure.
And it all goes right there, right into the intake.
And your filter's stopped.
Plug your air filter. Right. So standard off-roading, the factory setup's plenty, but racing Baja or this style of racing, you gotta figure out a way to keep the air filter clean, and that's a great solution.
So this is where it pulls air from, and then which is basically always clean.
Yep, and it's actually directing from down over inside the cap. So it's actually pulling in there, which you know is going to be about the cleanest place you can pull from. And Dan and Kevin Huseman did a lot of the fab work on this. OG trophy truck builders, short course racers.
All the tricks.
They're the OGs in this for it. And they're so cool to work with, and they've done amazing stuff.
So under the hood, that's it. I mean, like I said, you're going to be surprised how much of a race truck this really is. And I mean, stock hood, no carbon, all stock panels.
If you get a chance, ask Brad Lovell why there's a red fender here.
Yeah, I was noticing there's a yellow one.
You'll have to ask Brad Lovell.
Yellow one over here.
I'm not going to
open it. Obviously, window net, safety scenario. Obviously, caged, fire extinguishers. But dash. In fact, I'm going to key this on. All that factory stuff is in there. Factory ABS, factory brake system, factory transmission. We can even move the mirrors. And then you see the stuff that's not factory, right? So MSAT, satellite phone, of course, Recaro race seats. These are the seats that myself and Loren helped develop for the off-road industry. The tunnel, why did we end up doing an aluminum tunnel in here?
Just for room to mount all that stuff up there. So it's just a nice, clean, flat surface for the battery disconnect. You can see a lot of technology in this, almost more so than our race trucks. I mean, MSAT, Starlinks, live stream with the Starstream boxes.
Yeah.
All the Motec and that type of stuff right in front of the passenger. Lead nav and different navigation systems that'll be here. It's just, there's a lot going on in here to be able to data log live telemetry, so they'll be able to actually watch every system in this truck while we're racing.
So a lot of data for Ford to manage, and I want to be clear, like the reason why Ford races a truck like this and they're so adamant about the production stuff is because they learn and evolve the vehicles for future product. So this is a constant, the Raptor and the Bronco are absolutely amazing, but Ford is not one to rest on amazing. Like they want to keep progressing. So this is how they learn, by actually going and racing and having lunatics like us behind the wheel that try to break things, which we have not done a good job of breaking the 46 or this when it comes to factory components.
Somewhere.
Well,
you're right. No, they've been crazy durable.
So coming in the back, obviously, again, Parker pumps. You don't see that in a factory truck. Obviously, the tread scenarios, traction pad, traction bars. Of course, it's a custom aluminum shovel, right? There's not a store-bought shovel. This was built.
That's the Huseman's. I'm telling you, they're such.
This is like, well, we don't want a 4-pound one. We want a 2-pound one.
So let's build it.
We're gonna build it. Some spares back there. Spare tools. And then this is the What's this? Just a
it's just
fuel?
aluminum. It's aluminum shielding to kind of block some of the hot air going onto the fuel cell.
Okay.
And just to kind of clean up the back. So obviously the rear seats are removed, and that's what made room for everything back here. And
How big's the fuel cell?
This had a 50-gallon fuel cell in it. To meet Best in the Desert's rules, their stock rules say 44 gallons. So we actually had to buy 6 1-gallon fuel blocks, put them in there to take up 6 gallons of room.
Okay, so fuel cell, not stock. And then come on to the back.
Transmission cooler.
Yep.
And
Trans cooler.
Diff cooler.
Diff cooler.
Yep. So trying to keep the front diff a little bit cooler and all of our durability. That's one thing that we found, a little bit high temperatures and, transmissions. This is going to be the hottest race you've probably ever done.
Yeah.
And probably one of the hottest races I've ever done. When we raced in San Felipe at that time, that was a hot, nasty race.
Yeah.
But that was 100 miles, not 550.
Yeah. And then power steering does not have a cooler.
Power steering, it's electric power steering.
It's the factory power steering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and beyond that, that's it. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, the factory shocks are on here. I think probably greater spring rates. I'd assume.
We did play with the spring rates to add the extra capacity. So we're probably adding somewhere around 400 pounds of fuel and spare tires and a jack, maybe 500-600 pounds even, trying to get that rear up, very desert orientated. So yeah, we had to respring the rear. We might have even lightened the front springs. I can't remember, just because
the weight's off it.
You're getting that leverage.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have some limit straps under there. Added a couple skid plates.
Yeah.
And this is kind of cool. This little just come over. It's like these little things that I think are so cool. The attention to detail and just the experience, right? I mean, when you look at our trucks that we build, there's all those things, but the guys like the Hughesmans that have known this stuff, like you had to protect this shock pot, right? So this is position sensitive. These are Fox Live valves. So as it goes down in stroke, the computer is telling it to do things. So if we lose that, that's a problem. So we have this heavy duty net that just blocks roost from the tires or any other thing that we might or might not get into. So there's little simple things that, are really cool and make, factory race cars, right? From literally from the plant to the Hughesmans, to Baja to win, then to us to prep, and then here we are. So, and then for fluids, we are running Shell V-Power Nitro Plus 93 octane pump gas. Straight out of the pump, into our drum, into the truck. And then we have Pennzoil 1030, 530? 530, yeah. 530 Ultra Platinum. We've been very pumped with how the V-Power Nitro Plus works. We've run it in a lot of our street cars. And this was our first test with this fuel in the race truck, going from a race fuel directly to that. And in this sport, the concern is vapor locking,
right?
Temperature. We're not here for absolute max power. So we had a 98 octane race fuel that they ran in Baja, and Shell was very excited about the opportunity to run in these conditions with pump gas. And we got zero situation with vapor locking. In fact, we looked at all the data sheets, and the vapor pressure that this fuel makes versus the race fuel we were using is absolutely equal. So we don't have any concerns on the vapor locking situation. So they're doing some magic with this fuel, and very pumped to be working with them. So we're usually not the greatest passengers, but I think we trust each other at this point.
And I think the pace isn't 120 miles an hour
no, it's not.
In a big race truck. So
True.
This was a blast.
Yeah.
And I don't like being in a passenger seat at all, but I had a blast with you today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
We ripped, and I learned a lot, and I'm ready. I'm excited to race Vegas to Reno. It's a long race.
It'll test you. Last time I did it, it took me 18 hours because we broke the truck. We were down for like 6 hours. We finished the sun coming up the next day.
Oh my gosh.
But we're not gonna do that this time.
No, we're not. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yep. But it's one of those things that's gonna test you.
All right, friends. Well, we'll bring you along, let you know how it goes. See you next time.